Welcome to a new way. He has put you on a new journey. Hold close to him and follow what he says. Sent the final prophet Muhammad to mankind a mercy.
Alhamdulillah, wa salat, wa salam ala wa rasulullah. I want to welcome everybody to our series of diluting el wala wal bara. El wala wal bara. In English, we just simply say el wala wal bara. What can I say? Hey, it's my first language, well, second language. All right. So, Alhamdulillah, this class is right on target because one of the things that we are faced with here as Muslims living in America is we are all faced with jihad, the struggle of trying to keep our Muslim identity intact. And we look around, we have a lot of Muslim leaders in America, men and women who call themselves Muslim leaders. Be careful of people who pose as leaders. Remember, we talked about how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told the companions to beware of leadership, seeking leadership. Because if you're not qualified, or if you're seeking it for reasons other than fi sabilillah, you know, Allah is not going to help you with it, and you're going to end up succumbing to the people around you, the evil around you. And we see that here in America. I was up last night preparing my classes, my lectures for today. And subhanAllah, I was watching a lot of videos, you know, from famous speakers here in America. And I am just appalled. You know, everything is on video. You can't deny what the people say because you're right there on video, putting your foot in your mouth. I mean, it's really sad. This is elections here in America. And I'm going to continue to speak out like this until it's over. Because the Muslims here in America, many of us got it twisted. Don't get it twisted. You got Muslims here in America who still haven't learned that Allah speaks the truth, that Allah perfected this way of life for us, that Allah taught us how to handle ourselves in all situations, including wartime, including good times, including living in non-Muslim country times. And Allah taught us what we can and can't do. You know, we should never, no Muslim on this planet should ever participate in presidential elections if the candidates running for president are non-Muslims. This is wala wal bara, or in English, el wala wal bara. Okay? That's part of the testimony of faith. That's part of the shahada. My allegiance, your allegiance, our allegiance is not to a country. It's not to a non-Muslim. It's to Allah, to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Muslims and this religion of Islam. Allah is so clear in the Quran. He tells us, oh, you who believe, do not take the non-Muslims as your friends, as your protectors, as your helpers, as your supporters, because they will only be friends, allies, protectors, and supporters to themselves. He also says in another verse, all they desire is your ruin, your destruction. He also says in another verse, they will never accept you, no matter how you desire it, no matter what you do. The non-Muslims will never, ever accept you. This is clear. So Allah is speaking. He wasn't just speaking to the prophet and the companions about the Quraysh. He was speaking to us in 2024. They will never accept us. So why are you participating in non-Muslim elections? Now, if they were running for garbage man of the year, that's different. But you're talking about putting a leader over you. And what's the Mekositic meaning of those verses? What is the Mekositic meaning of those verses? The prophet is clear. When Allah sent those verses down, the prophet told the companions, a non-Muslim can never, ever, ever be a ruler or leader over us. Our laws are for us, their laws are for them. This is clear, clearness, clear verses. But here in the companions had no problem understanding that. The companions had no problem accepting that. Remember, they submitted. They were true Muslims. They were people who submitted to Allah, to his decisions, to his commands. But the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said each generation of Muslims will become further and further and further and further away from me, away from you, my companions. Well, we are centuries later. That was in the year 600 and something. This is 2024. You got Muslims running around with their hands all over their head like the world is about to end, saying, what are we going to do? Who should we vote for? The answer is clear. Allah done told you. We don't vote for anyone. They're not Muslim. They don't have our interests at heart. They're never going to give you a voice. Some of you say, oh, we need to have a voice. Well, you will never have one. Not from them. They can stop the war. Oh, really? Who said that? Allah also says that war comes from him. He sends it when he wills. He says if all the creation on earth were to come together to stop what he has decreed, they wouldn't be able to lift a finger. The ink is dry. The book is sealed. Clear. Clearness. So what do? You do what Allah said do. When Allah sends war, when Allah sends calamities, when Allah sends hardships to the Muslims, what did Allah say to do? He said, check yourself. Fall back. What does that mean? The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, fall back. What will suffice? The companion said, O Prophet of Allah, should we live to see the war, which they lived to see it. They experienced war. They said, what should we do in times of war? He said, La ilaha illallah will suffice. This is all Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari. Can't nobody refute Layla Nashiba. Not on this. That's why I'm notorious. Why is Layla Nashiba notorious? Because you can't refute me. I'm speaking the truth. Notorious. Telling you what you don't want to hear. Notorious. What you don't want to accept. But it's the truth. Fall back. Muslims in America, fall back. Fall back on La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah. Ask yourself, what are you doing to cause Allah to do what he's doing? He already told you why he sends it. We got some weak Muslims. Why? Why? Lish. Why is Allah allowing children to die? What did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said? Don't cry over our children. Our children are in the form of green birds flying around the throne of Allah, waiting for the day that they can be reunited back into their bodies and intercede for their families. So what are you weak Muslims crying over the children for? Their parents ain't crying over the children. Their parents ain't crying at all. Just like the companions. That woman who lost both her sons, she said, you know, I lost my husband and now I lost my boys. And oh, prophet, you know how much my boys meant to me. Tell me, was it worth it? Tell me. He said, your sons are in El Firdaus, which is the highest. So don't cry over your boys. She said, I never cry over them. That's all I wanted to know. She said, give me a spear and let me go out there and fight too. That's a believer. That's how the believers roll in times of goodness and in times of fitting. You people got it? You weak Muslims in America who thinking that the kafir is going to save the world? Y'all got it? War comes from Allah. You can't stop it. Trump can't stop it. Carmela can't stop it. Can't nobody stop it, just like Trump didn't start it. Carmela didn't start it. Even that idiot in Israel, he didn't start it either. Allah willed it. The ink is dry. The book was long sealed. You Muslims, you weak ones, you have to be like those companions and submit. Like that woman, submit. Like the believers who are losing children in Gaza, submit to the qadr of Allah and say, Alhamdulillah. You Muslims got it? This is why Allah is sending this war and it ain't stopping. It's not going to stop because you're too weak. There's too many of us that's bad. Allah says he sends it to cleanse the earth. Too many of us got to go. We got too many bad Muslims. We got too many weak Muslims. We got to go. So it's not going to stop. Like the prophet said, it starts in the east. It will start in the east and spread to the west. It's going to hit us too. Just wait. Soon. 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 Allah speaks the truth. We don't say Sadaqallahu Adim after we read the Quran. That's innovation. We say it every day without reading it. Allah speaks the truth. He's cleansing the earth of the weak, bad, corrupt people, including Muslims. It's going to get to you too. Okay? So we submit. But unfortunately, guys, I was up looking at videos last night. You brothers need to stop talking about politics in other countries and put your nose right here in America where it belongs. What goes on in Saudi Arabia ain't none of your business. It ain't even affecting you. What goes on in the Emirates, what goes on in Kuwait, what goes on even in Gaza, ain't got nothing to do with you. You better put your nose right here because we are twisted. The Muslims here in America, many of the leaders who call themselves scholars in America, you guys are twisted. We got Muslim women who don't dress properly, who don't even know what la ilaha illallah means. They probably can't pronounce the Fatiha correctly, or the Tashahu. They probably can't pronounce the Tashahu, because most American speaking Muslims don't know the Tashahu. That's a fact. I know. I'm a daya. How many we've come through this website and we had to teach them? They've been Muslims all their life. Okay? Even born in Muslim countries. All right? We got Muslim women in positions of power, in positions of authority, congresswomen. They don't look like Muslim women. They don't dress like Muslim women. Oh, there's videos of them walking with the LGBTQ community, hugging drag queens. I've never seen them in a khimar. They wear turbans, which is a curse in and of itself too. And they call themselves scholars and people of authority. Then we got the brothers who call themselves scholars, with all their PhDs, with all their online institutes and schools supporting these women. Not only supporting them, but even saying it, we need to help the gay LGBTQ. Oh, yeah. We need to support the LGBTQTC community. America shouldn't have a voice in regards to morality. First of all, you ain't got no business having a voice because you're a Muslim. Our way, our laws, we have our own laws we abide by. We respect the laws of the land, but we do not take the laws of the land that contradict our Islamic values and incorporate them within ourselves. We are to enjoin what's good, forbid what's evil. We don't sit there and blend them and blur them together and mix them, talk about the good outweighs the evil. There ain't no good in homosexuality, period, dot. Allah says it's one of the 10 worst sins any person can commit. He destroyed a whole nation of people. Hello. We don't stand with that. We don't stand with any morals that contradict ours. We do well, barah. We distance ourselves from that. That's why you Muslims in America ain't got no business getting involved in the politics here. We live in this country. We respect the rules here. We're citizens here. But we know when to hold and know when to fold. Just like those companions. They knew when to hold and when to fold with the Abyssinians. They knew when to hold and when to fold with the Romans. They knew when to hold and when to fold with the Persians when they lived in their countries. You keep your mouth shut and do what Allah said, fall back on wala wal barah, fall back on la ilaha illallah. And that's what we're going to be talking about today in this class, in this book, written by Sheikh Kareem Abu Zaid. May Allah bless him and forgive him of his sins. I mean, because he put it in English. English. For you American Muslims to read and understand what la ilaha illallah means. We're going to talk about inclusivity, because that's what your Muslim leaders in America are today. They belong in the group of inclusivity. What does that mean? They include themselves into the politics of America, include themselves into the business of America, even that which contradicts our ideology. And they blur the lines and they mix them together. And this is what we're not supposed to do. This is what the Prophet warned us to not do. This is what will bring our destruction. The Prophet Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. What's the source, Sahih Muslim? He said, he asked Allah. I asked Allah for 4 things. One of the things I asked him is to not allow my nation, my ummah, to be destroyed by its enemies. He said, Allah gave me that. But Allah said, your nation will never be overpowered. It will never be destroyed by its enemies. But I'm here to tell you, O Muhammad, your nation will be destroyed by itself. You Muslims will oppress yourselves, each other, imprison and kill each other. You will adapt the ways of the unbelievers, mix them with ours, and destroy each other. That's what your leaders here in America are doing, that you call Muslim scholars. I keep telling y'all, scholars come a dime a dozen. Give me a dime, and I'll show you 12 men in your circle who you consider a scholar because they know more than you. The true scholars, ain't no true scholar sitting up here in America advocating that garbage. How can you be a scholar of Islam and you're advocating and supporting gay rights? How can you be a scholar of this religion and you don't know your place as a woman? Where's your place? You forgot what your role is as a Muslim woman. You don't even know the Fatiha, probably. When is the last time you prayed? I can't see you taking a break from the drag queens to go make salat in the corner. I can't see you taking a break from the gay rights march to go make a salat in a corner when you got a turban on. You don't even have a jilbab on. We have to get it together. And that's what we're going to be speaking about tonight.